AI, Gen AI, or agentic AI, whatever that is, that was once considered a threat or a disruptor, is proving with time that is an enabler. Okay, so there is our way of doing things and there is AI way of doing things. Here in this session, we would want to show you how the traditional approach that we used to have earlier has been enhanced, has been reformed using AI. Okay, so SAP S/4HANA, okay, we specialize in this stream, we specialize in this technology, and we would like to showcase and we would like to connect with you guys on this topic, on this technology, to understand, firstly to present what we have done, what capabilities we have, what were the challenges that we have worked on and how we have overcome, okay, these projects that we have worked on, the assignment that we have implemented, and to receive inputs and direction from you guys. And we want to understand the projects that you have worked on, the challenges that you are facing, and how we can come together to come up with solutions. Okay, so quickly, of course, before we begin, you guys need to know who we are, where we are from, what we do. Okay, so we are Royal Cyber, and we are, can I have the pointer, next slide? Okay, I'll come to the agenda next. So we are a multinational company, okay? We are IT services and solution provider company. We are located in more than 10 countries, okay? And we have our total workforce is around 2,000 plus, okay? And out of which there are 500 plus certified consultants for various technologies. And for well, I'll have my colleagues speak about SAP S/4HANA certifications. Okay, and we have around 600 plus clients across the globe, and quite a good number of clients in the region. We are going to start a headquarters. In fact, we already have a headquarters, Riyadh headquarters, local headquarters. Okay, so here are some of the Arabian clients that we have. If you have a look, we are partnered with SAMI Advanced Electronics. We are working with the Neon projects. We are working with Imar. We are working with Nice Medical. Okay, you can have a look the customer base that we have got in Arabia, Saudi Arabia. Okay, and some of our SAP customers. Okay, the most popular one is the SACO. He's our SAP customer, and we also have Fletcher, Neon, Nico. These are the names with whom we are already working with. Okay, and with this, I'll be handing over the stage to our senior consultant, who is going to take you through the journey ahead, and also a glimpse on the agenda while he comes on stage and prepares his part. Here is the glimpse of the agenda. You guys can go through it. And over to Ashok.
Thanks, Mujahid. Able to hear me? Yes. Okay. Yes. So now let me introduce myself. Myself, Ashok, head of delivery for SAP projects across the globe. More than 25 years of IT experience, of which 20 years in SAP, where part of the hardware journey to ECC to S/4HANA, right? Now, if you look at from the SAP perspective, as I was talking about, in terms of how exactly SAP has evolved over the course of years, a lot of things have changed, right? And then, especially when it comes to the journey in terms of how we have been in the engagement. If you look at from the SAP practice, we are over 375 consultants across the globe, of which probably 100 plus are certified. Again, strong experience in the SAP. If you look at from the offering perspective, we work on S/4HANA implementation, we work on S/4HANA migrations, we work on advisory services as well, where some of the engagements where some SI is currently implementing the SAP, but the business is not happy with how the journey is going on. They need to know how exactly it need to be built. We have engagements in Middle East as well, where we are having consultants, the functional consultants are working with the business to decide or give idea in terms of how this particular solution need to be implemented. And we have the solutioning and the testing as well, which we are going to cover as a part of it. And then again, S4HANA managed services. That way, it is not just we are here for the testing service. Royal Cyber as an established company, we have been in the industry for more than 22 years, and then that experience brings a value, right? When it comes to S4HANA, a lot of the cases what we have seen, we have some CEOs here, we have some CTOs here, we have some CIOs here. So what we typically look at S4HANA as a part of the consulting journey is, hey, we are doing S4HANA project. From the IT perspective, it's just an S4HANA project. But if you go back to the business, there's a value. That whole composition is in place. Complete business is driven by their business is controlled by system. And anything that goes in a negative way, where the failures can be with respect to understanding of the system, understanding of the processes, understanding of the journey can lead to a lot of problems. This is where we need to have a right partner to support, and we as the Royal Cyber, we are honored to be part of your journey or to be part of this conversation to support you all. Alright? Now, if we go back to S4HANA typical problems, can I go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so I just wanted to bring some of the challenges what we typically see in S4HANA, right? So over here, as we go in the journey of an S4HANA, I would say the term called digital transformation, right? When it comes to digital transformation, the journey is getting complicated. So we have a lot of what I call a complex architecture. Earlier those days, oh, I can't connect to Zadcar, I cannot connect to another system, I cannot integrate with the banking system, right? So keeping that, the digital transformation is getting evolved, and then we are seeing complexities are getting increased, right? So if you look at it, there are complex business landscape where we need to work with the systems. It can be like multiple systems, especially if you talk about the automotive industry, right? You have to work with different integrations, different partners. And then again, the workflows are different, right? There are complex workflows, there is a complex architecture, and then there are processes which will lead to a lot of challenges in the SAP system. That's where I just put this kind of like a 5-layer structure as like basically to show what kind of challenges we see, especially with respect to S4HANA, right? Here again, the data is another part of it, right? Because especially for who are looking at migration, it's just not simple data. Like we have to make sure that we bring all the integrations, we have the data sets, there is a complexity of the data sets, and then there are various combinations. That's where it becomes very challenging in terms of the S4HANA. And then always one thing what we see in S4HANA systems, where we are looking at some of the engagements, hey, I wanted to roll out some changes, some enhancements to be done. And the message is, it will take time, because when I look at FICO changes, or when I look at this example, there is a multi-currency changes I want to roll out, right? It's not going to be straightforward. At the same time, as I talked about complex data structure, right? We are now talking to the era of agentic AI. There is a financial agentic AI, there is HR agentic AI, there is a order management agentic AI, and then there is a CO agentic AI, right? So everywhere, the people are looking for autonomous, people are looking at how exactly I can bring that automation in place to make things better and to make things more smoother. This is where things are getting into more complications. And here, if you look at from delivery perspective, what we see is that the customer business says, I need delivery tomorrow. I need delivery day after tomorrow. Okay, that particular rollout is very critical for the business to happen. One of the previous customer, like where basically we now started with engagement for them for a retail customer. What happened was there was a multi-currency change that was supposed to be rolled out. One logic was missed out, and the communication from the business was, I need it by Friday. Okay, the testing team came, they did, okay, we will do happy path. They did a happy path. They missed to verify one particular scenario, and because of which we had to stop basically roll back the service, and basically the whole business was down. So almost what we saw in that engagement, 72 hours there was the business was shut, and it was like a $10 million revenue per day, where they lost 30 million revenue. Again, it's not about commercial, it's not about the time, right? It's a brand value, because what happens, especially when an ecosystem, when you're looking at a retail business where you have a front-end interfaces working with your back-end systems, once you lost the brand, bring back the customer is not easy. Once the customer loses your trust, it's very difficult to bring that. So especially in this case, why exactly I'm bringing these examples are, if you don't focus on making sure that you are not only looking at the happy path, you have to go through every corner of the system, it takes time. And going with the manual testing or manual scenario, in this case, are becoming challenging. That's the reason why we are saying that we have to focus on automation, we have to focus on how exactly we can go along with the journey in terms of how automation can support us. Okay? So with that said, probably I would hand over to Adnan to talk about the next topic. Sure. Any questions here?
Hello everyone. So I will mostly talk about the major challenges that we face during the migration process. So with the stats, it comes to that 8% of the organizations actually able to transform on schedule, which means there is a lot of complexity involved when we are trying to do a migration, and when it's not planned properly, then there is a lot of risk that we're gonna end up late with the delivery process. 60% experience deviation in the budget. When there is a lack of timelines, there is lack of quality within the process, so the budgets will also go high. And definitely there will be high risk on the budget end as well. 65% identify there is severity quality deficiencies. So quality, either it's a from manual towards automation journey, and evolving it through the AI is very like a key role in it. And the quality plays a very important role in terms of delivering of all S4HANA or ECC2 S4HANA migration processes. Next slide. Okay. During the migration and the transformation, there are many areas where we are, or the customers are basically unclear on the business processes, because they have not groomed enough to the delivery or the processes or the business ideas they are trying to develop. They are not very much focused on the documentation part. Data is also a bottleneck. When we are migrating from old system to a new system, there are some challenges with the data migration. The data is not properly migrated, and also mostly customers or end clients today majorly focus on manual testing, which cause the overhead in terms of testing. When we are moving towards integration part, when we are trying to do the regression of the whole application, so testing play a very critical role if it's not automated well. And with S4HANA, within SAP ALM, TAT, Tricentis, Tosca, and GoTestPro, these are the major tools that we recommend or we emphasize on that can help the end user to automate the whole journey, from the business processes towards the execution and towards the delivery. The whole pipeline will be automated within SAP, and that can speed up the customer's delivery, improve the quality, and they can have more visibility of what is happening. With that, I will hand over to my
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. I'm happy to be here with my trusted partner, Royal Cyber. This is Abdul Khaliq Rasool. I'm part of SAP S4HANA Cloud Solution Advisory Team. I'm representing SAP today. And the question about why, what, and how. Why we are testing, or why testing is playing a key role in going with a successful implementation, going with successful data migration, going with successful go live or adoption of the solution, and what we are testing and how we are testing. So I'll handle the why part. Testing is playing a key role in testing the process, testing the data, testing the logic. And this is a very common sense. If you want to ensure that your process is working perfect, you need to test. If you want to make sure that the data are well, you need to test. If you want to ensure that your logic is working fine, you need to test. So testing. This is the key in any implementation, any migration. So what are the things that we are testing? And mainly we are testing everything. Whether we are talking about the process, because today no one is focusing on the technology only. The business processes or the end-to-end business processes are key in any implementation or in any digital transformation. So the process, the end-to-end processes, whether the processes in one platform or multiple platform, or it will require an integration with other solution, the end-to-end processes, business processes is a key factor here. And we are proud in SAP that we are not only delivering the technology, but we are delivering the business processes. We are delivering an end-to-end business processes like order to cash, hire to retire, procure to pay. All those end-to-end business processes ensure that anyone in the department is connected with each other. What else we are testing? We are testing the usability, the code, development, the bugs. So I should highlight a very key testing case. We are not only testing the heavy scenario, we should also test the reverse or the failure scenarios, which is the negative testing. Also, we are testing performance. Performance is a key. When it comes to retails, for example, when you have thousands of articles, thousands of SKUs, you need to test the performance. So all of those are key to be tested, because it's not a technology only. It is technology, it is code, it is data, it is the processes. Next, please. So SAP is delivering, as mentioned by our colleagues and Royal, SAP deliver ALM or Application Lifecycle Management as part of their offering. And the key thing here about, or the related thing here about the Application Lifecycle Management and the Activate methodology, we are delivering the test scenarios, we are delivering test scripts in order to fit with your business processes, and you don't need to build your own testing scenarios or spend time in building a test script or test data. So part of the deliveries, we are delivering the scenarios to be tested, test cases, a lot of data to be tested, templates. This is part of our Activate methodology and part of our Application Lifecycle Management. And this is coming as part of the packages that we offer as an SAP, and it is complemented by the scenarios and the tools that our partner are delivering. Back to you.
Okay, so we talked about SAP and we discussed a little bit about SAP Activate methodology. So what basically happens within SAP Activate methodology, the process or the whole phases start from discover. discovery part, where we initially discover what we have to test, what is the scope of work, then it comes into the prepare methodology or a prepare phase, where we actually prepare the test planning, part is done, team organization is being done, and we design the whole architecture that what testing needs to be done. Exploration is a part where majorly we rely on. We create test plans, test cases, and the whole end-to-end test strategy is being developed, that in which types of testing will be performed, what type of scenarios will be tested, and whole test data will be organized. Realization is a major key component. Realize is a main key component where we actually perform end-to-end testing part. This whole consists of two areas, where one is implementation testing. Implementation, it comes with different other flavor of testing, where unit functionality, for example, testing the one process in a silo, sales order creation, testing sales order in one silo without its key components or integration being done. Then strings of unit, where we integrate the component, like a whole end-to-end flows needs to be tested, so there we do it. Then integration parts, SAP integrating with the other tools or components, that how that integration will be done. Migration of the data that comes from the older system to the newer system, that needs to be placed properly, so the records and data will populate on the right time in the right manner. Then the whole end-to-end processes needs to be tested. And then after that, the UAT part comes up. So here we need to see how the customer wants the end functionality. Is it working as per the customer expectations? So we do end-to-end testing. Their whole end-to-end UAT cycles will be done, processes will be tested, and then we move towards the deployment part, where deployment is done on an environment. And within the run phase, there are multiple challenges that needs to be mitigated in terms of regression testing. Then new components, so the changes are coming up, or the impact is being there, so we are doing any sort of a bug fixing or that. So for that, we do have some standard processes like post-upgrade tests that are there within SAP that needs to be run. The test scripts are there, test templates, and the whole use cases are there. So within that, also TAT supports a lot in end-to-end execution. We can run, record all those scenarios within TAT, which comes with SAP ALM, and we can run the end-to-end execution. Okay, so this slide describes about mostly the key documentation and how the manual testing, still if you are not using the automation part, how the manual testing can be done. So let me show. Yeah, so yeah, any questions so far?
Yeah, before we continue, or we'll take a pause to take questions from you guys, okay? Because it shouldn't get overwhelming.
There was one point I wanted to add on top of what we talked about, where when you talk about the previous slide, when Adnan was talking about, he talked about the test cases, right? Can you go back to the previous slide? Yeah. So a lot of the cases, I'm not sure how many of you are comfortable are using the Signavio. That's another the process modeling, what SAP also recommends in terms of the process. So that way, we can bring the intelligence on top of the business process. Again, I'm not saying I'm recommending Signavio or I'm not recommending Signavio. It's more of the process model, a BPML solution, what SAP offers. If you have a simple BPML tool, it can be via Visio. We can definitely do that. But when it comes to automation, another good thing which we can look at is how do we do automation, right? Example, there are a couple of you asked me like how exactly AI can come into play here, right? So now with the a business process in place, or if you have any processes being driven, we can have automated test generation. Because typically what we do when it comes to automation, we take two steps. One, we go by the model, which is a silo what we talked about, where I take the FICO, or I take the order to cash, or I take the sales to procure to pay, or basically some model-based approach. That's a model-based approach. Yeah, I don't have time to go through all the models because we have to go and we have to make it a little bit in a different way. Then there is a way to make it risk-based approach, where I know the critical business functions which I need to drive, where I take those test cases on top of the
a priority-based model where I do the risk-based approach and I develop it. That way, automation can be in a different way where we can look at in terms of building that magnitude, considering the intricacies, considering the complexities what we have, considering the timeline what we have, we can go stepped approach. But definitely there are ways where we can build a solution. Okay. But again, with AI coming on top of it, definitely we can look at how do we do automated test case generation and how exactly we can build the intelligent data. For example, when you talk about the silos or when you talk about the business process integration, how exactly the AI can come into play to support, build your data so that way you can cover all the scenarios, or especially based upon the risk or based upon the model. That's possible with AI. Okay, that's something we can definitely try to do demo. And then maybe like we can come up with some test script which can be adaptive in nature, where we can try to build that. And then how exactly, based upon our past experience using the AI, we can look at how do we do the defect prevention. That's very critical process where we can look at how do we do that. Especially we typically follow the generative adversarial networks, basically what we call GAN, for the machine learning model. Definitely we can build that AI algorithm for the testing.
How many of you participate in an upgrade of software? Anyone? How long did it take you to test the everything?
3 months. 3 months.
3 months. Okay. Do you know that currently in, for example, in the S4HANA public cloud, you have a window to test it in 3 weeks or 1 week?
No, I did not know that.
Because SAP recommends every 6 months there's an upgrade happens. If you take 3 months to get that testing, that would be like too much of time. That's where automation makes a big role in the testing cycle.
Exactly, and this is the point of our being here. We want to automate the testing scenarios.
So we are talking about regression testing here?
Everything.
Lovely.
Not only regression testing.
So how
Regression
about the
testing
gap
is one.
analysis? How about the gap analysis?
It's part of the process testing. So if you are testing the process, there are the things that you need to analyze. But the gap analysis is usually done in the earlier stages of the implementation. So again, in the testing or during the testing, you need to involve or socialize the solution in every stages, not only in the realization. So thanks to you, this is very important. You need to socialize the testing, you need to socialize the scenarios, you need to socialize the processes, because at the end user need to come into place from the beginning, right? Because the change management will be very difficult at the end. You need to get them the key stakeholders need to be available from the beginning in order to have a smooth transition or to have smooth adoption of the solution.
We call typically as a left shift model. That means we bring the testing at the early stage. That's where the gap analysis, what you questioned, Salim, is going to be the critical here, because you look at what is that I'm going to test. Because end of the day, what I talked about, 2 lines. One, brand value. Another is make sure that you committed to the business, because end of the day, business processes has to work intact to make that commitment. Because there is no question about happy path. I tested happy path, it should work. I do not know why it did not work. That message has to stop. That's exactly what we are seeing in multiple engagements. Maybe there are engagements we are working where someone is implementing it. We are part of the testing cycle where they are saying that support me here. We are there to commit, but at the end of the day, what we see is that analysis at the left shift model. Either you take the risk-based approach or you take the model-based approach. It has to come into the play. Then only you start analyzing your data. What is your production data? Using AI, I can mimic that production data. I can say this is exactly what happens. Because when you talk about the communication, what I talk about, order to cash, right? You think about automotive industry. and that too we talk about number of cars, right? Then again, what kind of variants, what kind of different colors, what kind of different combination of your kind of products, right? That way it becomes more complicated. But when you look at building your test cases, building your scenario, building your test data, everything will matter, and that planning has to happen at the left shift model.
And one very important point here, we are shifting from the fit or the gap analysis to fit to standard. So as I mentioned from the beginning, as SAP, we are proud to be a process or an industry specific process ERP, where we build our solution on top of the best practices. And the best practices, you will find it everywhere as a backbone, whether it's in the ALM, whether in several testing tools, you will find it, because we deliver it as the part of the processes. So rather than having the gap analysis or the process gap analysis, we have the fit to standard. This is the standard. You adapt to the standard, or you change your way of dealing or doing the business to fit with the standard. So rather than changing the system or changing the process, you change the mindset of the organization.
So I will quickly just explain this slide and go into the demonstration part, so it will be more interactive and show you how it works. So within this automation whole end-to-end journey, so there are three major tools or components through which we can leverage the whole automation. One is SAP itself with ALM and TAT. GoTestPro is there with integration with SAP S4HANA and public cloud. We can do end-to-end automation, and Tricentis within there as a adopter within SAP to run the whole end-to-end journey for all the testing with that we can do for S4HANA. So if I quickly just go and show you how this whole looks like. Okay, so for example, just to go production, just give me 1 second. Okay, so here I will go and just give me 1 second, please. Let me select the project.
We are switching to a demo now.
Yeah.
And this is very good, by the way, because you are saying the real-time projects simulation or testing simulation, which is very key. Rather than having a batches or a background jobs or whatever things that is a little bit have a time variance. No, you are seeing a real-time testing scenarios or real-time even result, and this is what everyone is looking for, real-time.
Okay. So this is the tool that called GoTestPro, and within this.
Can you see, or it is a little bit bright?
I can't see.
Yeah, so we
Just
need to
give me
switch
1
off
second,
the
we're
lights
going to
a
light
little
that
bit.
lights up.
Okay.
It's coming, 1 second, it's coming.
I think it is here.
It's coming. Okay, that's it.
Okay, let me explain a little bit about the tool, and then we can, once the lights get better, we can demonstrate. So this is GoTestPro. Okay, So GoTestPro is a no-code test automation solution, which comes with its own extension, which is Chromium-based extension, can be integrated with Chrome-based browsers, either it's IE or Chrome itself. And how it assists the users, so the GoTestPro comes with out-of-the-box test cases. So you can, when you are starting your testing journey within SAP, so starting from ground zero, you will have a lot of test cases. Either you are working on sales, finance, or any other module, for example, procurement. So you will have a bunch of test cases that you can use, utilize, modify, and run them out of the box. Apart from that, its own features, right? For example, its own recording capabilities are very much aligned with with the SAP interface, and you can actually automate your test cases within very few clicks. Okay, so you will spend about, like, for example, you are spending writing down your test case manually maybe 15 or 20 minutes on a 40 steps test cases. So here within GoTestPro, you can record the whole user flow and the test case within 5 minutes with different options and integration. So this test case actually is about sales order creation, where one sales order will be created and will be demonstrated that how the execution looks like, and then I will also show you how the recording part works with SAP S/4HANA. So if I run this on the local execution, so on the right hand side you can see this is actually the executor or the extension that is there. So all the test steps that is there for this specific test case are on the right hand side, and this is my application under test. And every step that I am executing is very easy to understand what is happening, what I am trying to do, and the execution is also very smooth and speedy in terms of if I am running this test case manually. So there are no lags within the application, even if there are network glitches. So a tool is capable of waiting and adding the implicit and explicit waits, and the execution will go on. So here I have logged into the environment right now. The application is actually waiting for the interface to be loaded, and once it's loaded, it will go into the sales order creation part, and then will create the sales order, and then the execution will be done. So any such tools that you guys are using in your organization today, and that you are leveraging your automation journey from these tools? Or is it purely manual today? So let me rerun it because the loading time took a little much of the time.
While you are doing it, I take from your word low code or no code.
Yeah.
Do you know why we are always emphasizing on low code, no code, or the clean core? Anyone?
Go the faster implementation.
Exactly. Faster implementation. Why? Because we don't need a lot of developers to develop a scenario, or to develop a tool, or to develop a testing case. We want the business users or the key users to utilize the applications in order to come up with the application or testing scenarios or such cases. This is why we are always emphasizing in low code, no code, because we don't want to specify or leave it a bottleneck that only developers can develop such scenarios, because at the end users or our key users are key in all of these steps. That number.
Is it executing the test steps?
Yeah, right now it's executing, it's selecting the sales order document type, and then it will select the designated or the input data and keep on going.
So this is a RPA or robotic process automation that is executing in the attended mode or unattended mode. So if the difference between attended mode or the unattended mode is, in the attended mode you see all the steps that are executed in front of you. but in unattended mode, you will see at the end the log or the results.
So right now, this is what we call local execution. So you can see everything executing in front of you. There is a cloud version or the cloud execution in terms of scaling up on different environments, different configurations, and run it on the background while you are using your own system. So this is how the actually execution part looks like. And when it comes to recording, or when you are writing down your first automation test case within GoTestPro, so how it actually works, so you just have a user or an end user just need to click on a new test scenario. So the empty windows will open with no test steps, and first any operations that you're gonna perform here will start recording. Okay, so I've just clicked here and I will enter, for example, the credentials. Okay, and once I enter the credentials, it will capture the details and everything. Within this, if you have, for example, your backend testing needs to be done, so you can integrate your APIs or REST services within the tool itself. So now we feel it's simple buttons and that we are connecting, but the tool is capable of doing a lot more. For example, you have to do assertions on the front end or in the back end on the data set, so you can do with the tool. You have to integrate with the third-party libraries or services that can be done. So this is how easy it is to automate one use case within GoTestPro and then run it on different configurations and environments. And the tool itself comes up with agentic AI support where you can generate the test cases from your own test documentation. For example, you have a scope of work document, so you can give it as an input, and with that you can draft your own test plan. With the test plan, you can create your own test cases and then run it on the larger scale in the spectrum. So this is what GoTestPro is capable of. Now I just touch base a little bit on SAP ALM and how similar sort of a journey can be done through SAP itself within SAP ALM TAT. Okay, so this is one of my instance for SAP, and this is let me go back to
So just imagine that the 3-month testing can be done in 3 minutes or 3 days, because you can run multiple sessions at the same time. You can have it running, schedule it and run it over the night or over the weekend. So this will accelerate the testing process.
Yeah. So this is my SAP dashboard. If I go into my automated testing section, these are some of the tiles that I can use within my SAP test automation and testing process, starting from registering my test steps that are there. So if I go into my test process part, okay, so these are some of the tests that I have created. If I create right now one new test, so I will just provide a test plan. Okay, within the test plan I can provide any name. Okay, and I can save. Okay, I need to select few test processes. I can add the existing test processes that are there. I can save them. Okay, and within this test plan, I have few predefined test processes that I can leverage as my post-upgrade test. So I can run these processes for my post-upgrade test that I explained previously in the previous slide when we were doing the run part. Okay, and if you have to create your own test, so SAP ALM and TAT provide its own recording capabilities as well. So within this, you can actually record your own scenarios within that as well. So if I go a little back, take a one step back, and I go into manage my test part. Okay, and here if I create one test process, for example, new test, and I will save it. Okay, so this is my new test process that I can take within my test plan, and within this, if I go into now, you can see this SAP itself provide its own recorder. So I will just select one of the process that I want to automate or record. So I will select that from this window by entering its name. For example, let it open. And I wanted to do my automation around create a sales order. Okay, so these are some of the processes. I will select this one and submit it. Okay, so it shows me that okay, recording will start. Okay, it opened my new instance of application on which actually I can run the automation. So in the previous tool, GoTestPro, you also saw this screen coming up and the automation was done. Now within SAP ALM, we have this recorder available and we can use it. Okay, I just initiated it, and if I go in this screen back, you see this recorder here. So now any operation that I'm gonna perform within SAP, that can be automated through ALM, and we can leverage it at a larger scale. All the steps that I'm gonna perform, for example, I select my document type, okay, and few clicks that I'm gonna perform, and if I stop it right here, it's gonna take me back. Okay, so now the next part that we have to do specifically for SAP TAT ALM is data binding, which was easier than the previous tool because there was no such data binding. All the data we were collecting on the runtime. So now to scale up this testing, we can associate all the data bindings. In the other tool, GoTestPro, we have data-driven testing. Okay, in the data-driven, we can bind all the data sets with our test cases, and here we have to create the data bindings. And once my test case is ready with as a new process, I can save it, make it in the part of a test plan, run it as my post-upgrade test. So this is how these two tools can accomplish your test journey towards automation, and they have their own AI capabilities as well. For GoTestPro, we have out-of-the-box test cases from the test plans, from the documentation. You can create your knowledge base, and then you can run the whole AI on top of that and create your test cases and run those. Any questions so far specifically around these two tools that you guys, or any challenges that you face in your real-time testing as of now?
Question is how this recording is picking the data actually. You show the recording.
Yeah.
Then you have to give sales organization domain any. What's
How
the
it is
difference?
taking the
So,
parameters?
so you know, in
If I'm
each
doing
of
the
the
testing manually,
transactions.
I have to put the same data. And
Yeah,
in the
so-
recording, I'm also giving the same data.
So
What's the difference
in
actually?
the recording is starting from the transaction or the application that you are specifying during the creation of the testing. So in his example, he mentioned that I'm starting with the creation of sales order. So there is a transaction code or application called create sales order, right? So when he started the recording, the transaction appeared and the recording started. So the recording will take all the fields in the screen, okay? And it will take all the clicks he is clicking. So it is recording all the steps. If you click on back, it will record back. If he click on the open window or open the help, it will record. So it is recording every steps he is doing. It's just
My question
recording.
is he is giving the sales organization everything manually there or it
No,
will pick
so
on-
first time it's manual.
Yeah, he is recording that and mapping it
My first
to.
scenario is creating sales organization.
Mhm.
Yes. Second scenario is something, ABC something else,
Yes.
creating an invoice. Again, you have to go and do the recording, and again it will pick the data.
For
From
example-
where it will pick the company code and so many other
Yes,
things.
yes, yes.
actually.
So for example, sales order. So there is just not one field, okay? Order type and the organizations and all the details. So you enter first time, you need to enter that data. Second time, or for the larger execution, you will use the data bindings, okay? So you will bind your data sets for every, for example, step you will have a data binding option, and in SAP there is a whole section where you create your data bindings. For sales order, I will create one data binding with different organization types, with different codes and with the data set. That can be thousands of use cases or the data entries.
It's
And-
a combination,
yeah.
right?
So-
Example, the example what he talked about is a sales order, which is like basically in a ECC word, VBA01, right? But when I talk about OTC, O2C, when we talk about order to cash, what we do, Simple step, if I want to take, create a sales order, ready for delivery, deliver, and then you are completing the billing cycle. That way what you do, VL01, VL01, VL02, and maybe VF01. That's how we step it. So when I talk about the previous example, when I talk about earlier, we risk-based versus model-based. So when you take about the model, example, I take a OTC scenario, I prepare the data once, and then I make sure that this whole journey gets completed in the cycle of testing. That way I prepare that test bed for the first time, and I make these steps to go. So yeah, please.
So the user has to predefine the data first and then it will start recording with the full process?
Correct.
Yeah, but this is if we are executing or doing the manual testing. But if we are going with the automation, there are ready-made templates or
Yes.
ready-made test scripts.
My question is, suppose I'm in finance,
Mhm.
and if I have 50 scenarios, suppose,
Mhm.
starting from manual invoice to invoicing,
Mhm.
bank integration, and same like receivables, and I have listed on Excel 50 scenarios, and how I will link those 50 scenarios to this tool actually. How system will go and pick the data, from where it will go pick the company code, amount, bank, tax things, and open invoices, and how it will clear it actually. I don't understand how system will work it actually. Suppose.
You have an answer?
Yeah, so for example, any screens that you are going through in your whole process.
Manual process.
Manual process, end-to-end process. So right now, replace that manual mode with the recording, okay? So you need to run your whole scenario once using the recording. It will capture all the elements that are appearing on the screen. Okay, once you have created your end-to-end journey with the help of the recorders that these tools have, so your end-to-end part is completed. Now you need to test that whole process on different data. Okay, so for example, you said for the first entry you provided one type of a data set, okay, where you have used certain organization codes, certain input data, names, organization name, shipping addresses, etc. So now imagine you have an Excel sheet with all these data in one sheet column, okay, and you will put 1,000 records in that, 1,000 organization addresses, shipping IDs, organization types, etc. Now you will link that data with this tool, okay, either it's a data binding. So when you run it, that test will run for every iteration that is there in the data. If you have 100 records, it will run 100 times for different data sets, okay, and provide you the results, okay, that this is the execution results look like, and this is where, for example, failures are happening. This data is not compatible, or the execution part was failing, so you can do it that way.
So rather than repeating the recording or repeating the steps 100 times, you will do it once and upload the file, which is the data file, and let the test automation tool execute.
Data binding automatically takes from the file to application, or
Yes,
you need
yes.
to bind each and every field?
No. The fields will appear here, and you will map it in the Excel sheet. So you will
How the
fill.
system is going to determine from that Excel sheet to
This is the,
automating application? For example,
within-
as the brother said, based on the scenario, they might for one scenario they might not require 100 fields.
Mhm.
For the others, for the same sale order, for the other scenario, they might require 50 fields.
Mhm.
So in the Excel, we should take, I believe we should take the 100 fields to give the feasibility to all the scenarios. So in that case, the data binding needs to be done by manual, I mean to say, before running the automation, we need to map one by one field with respect to the application, or is automatically how it's going to be defined?
Yeah, usually each test scenarios will have a template, Excel template to be filled. It is not only in the testing, even in the data migration. Okay, so the templates are ready made, and it will highlight what are the mandatory fields and what are the optional fields. So as a basis or a minimum, you need to fill all the mandatory fields, like the sales organization, sales unit, the
the sales, the item, but not every field will be filled by the data. The mapping is already available there in the Excel, and it will mention that these are the mandatory fields, these are the optional fields. So it will give you the visibility for every field that is in the screen.
You mean to say like the file should be downloaded from the cockpit?
No, yeah, it is available in the template. In every test scenarios or every even a data upload, you will see the templates. You don't need to develop the templates yourself.
Similar to LTMC templates you have.
Yes, yes. In each application, there are a template that is meant for the object itself.
The template could be the change based on the organization, or it is unique for all.
It is unique. Usually it is unique. And unless you have added some of the customized field or custom field, you need to add them to the template itself.
Still, suppose I have tested my very basic process of
Mhm.
payment to a vendor. Suppose.
Yes.
It's very simple. I mean, I have just go and I have filled all the fields.
Mhm.
Like I have selected the vendor, I have selected the bank, and I have just one open invoice of 1,000.
Mhm.
It's everything recorded. But now related to payment, I have at least 5 or 6 more scenarios, like partial payment, like residual payment,
Mhm.
like payment with the GST, like payment with advance payment with withholding tax.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
so I think I will have to go and do the recording again and again.
No.
Problem, how I will tell the system
No.
that okay, for the scenario
This is
3,
very good.
I want to deduct withholding tax.
This
The
is very
scenario
good
2 is a
scenario.
partial payment. Scenario 4 is a residual payment. I
Yeah.
will tell the system.
So
actually.
this is very good example. You have 5 processes. Each one of them have one thing that is identifying the other processes. So you will record for the first time.
All of them
One time you will
Okay.
record, but in the test scripts or in the template you will have 5 sets of data. One with a full payment, one with partial payment, one for example with withholding tax, one without withholding tax. So you are only changing the data and leave the testing or the tool test these scenarios on behalf of you. Rather than doing the 5 scenarios, you will do it once, record, then upload or update the sheet with the different type of scenarios, and let the tool determine whether this testing case fail or succeed.
So basically it will help in different combinations.
Yes, and the major advantage that you guys can take is in the regression, okay, or the upgrades that happening. So when you have thousands of test cases, now, for example, right now you're considering one use case with multiple combination of data set, okay. Manually, maybe it will take you an hour or 30 minutes to run all the combinations. But when you have these combination permutated with like thousands of test cases, and you have a set timelines where you have to meet the quality delivery and run these test cases to see how the migration or the new releases are working with our data sets priorly or the processes are intact. So then the key advantage will be taken through these tools, that you see the end-to-end results very quickly. You see where the tool or the product is breaking up, where we have to focus, where we have to apply fixes and the patches, and then
So in an instance, we have different servers.
yes.
So do we need to have it plugin for the different servers or?
No, so you record your scenario for one use case for one time on any server. Then you have to just change your application in a test. For example, you are running few test cases marked on server 1 and few test cases you want to run on server 2. So you will just change the environment that you have to define as a global parameter. You will just change, okay, this set of test cases or test plan needs to be run on specific instance, and these are for specific instance.
And for some of the application, like for example the public cloud, you don't need to worry about the server because it is a SaaS model and it's a native cloud solution.
And how
Do you
about
people, sorry, do you people train people, users, how to use this template or no? Because template, one should know, we should know a good knowledge of this template, how to fill it actually.
Yeah.
I have to check before testing you give it.
So does it require expertise, like, does it require skills to attain expertise in creation of the templates?
Well, the templates, as I mentioned from the beginning, you don't need to create it, you need to fill it, and each template, I'm talking about the templates that I use. In each template, in our application, there is a detailed documentation within the template. So it will mention what are the mandatory fields. It will also mention the mapping between the fields. So is this field having 5 characters? Is it numeric? Is it a date? So the mapping of the field, it is available within the documentation of the template. So would I need to train the people? More or less, yes or no. But will it be an intensive training? I don't think so. Anyone, any business user should be able to understand these templates.
I think that's the important point.
It is touching their business.
Actually, the problem is, I don't know. I have seen many times that users are not taking UATs and training seriously, honestly. I mean, they will just check one scenario and do you have some predefined industry-specific scenarios like for pharma or auto?
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
so we make sure that even though the user is not taking the thing seriously, but he is not missing anything.
If you recall from the beginning of our session, we are saying we are delivering everything within the standard, and we are delivering the best practices. Part of the application lifecycle management and the Activate methodology, there are scenarios defined, predefined, and each of these scenarios have scripts attached to it. So if the user is not taking it seriously, as an implementation partner or a delivery team, at least they will do the testing that is available part of the test scripts or the best practices. So this is actually the use case for the automated test tools. So even if the users are not doing it, the tool is doing it and ensuring that it is logged and it is passing the test. And one of the good thing about the test automation tool is the utilization of Joule. Joule is
Abdul, I think there is a question from our guest. He was
Yes.
raising his hand when you
sorry.
said that, sir.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The tool, the backend, which tool used to develop that LS tool, that automation tool for that regression testing and automation testing?
GoTestPro?
The first one that we demonstrated? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one is based on Playwright. The framework is Playwright on the back end, and on top of Python Playwright, the back engine is developed. And the whole test is the execution steps that we capture from the screen. We translate them into a Python language, and the framework is Playwright. On top of that, you interact with the browser, with the elements, and the DOM elements that are there within that.
Fury element.
Yeah, Fury.
Fury is just the representation layer of
Yeah.
the solution. And this is how the tool will look like, or the Fury application that will look like. And currently we are adding the Joule, and Joule is our chatbot or the business AI that is available in most of the SAP modules currently, especially when it comes to the cloud solutions, like whether you are talking about SuccessFactors, you are talking about S4HANA, you are talking about Ariba. All of the application, or most of the application, are supported with an AI agent called Joule. And Joule is a native, a natural language interpreter or business AI that it will facilitate you to do a test plan, for example. If you want to do a test plan for sales organization, so you can give a commands to Joule, and it will create a test plan for you. It will specify what are the test scenarios, and it will create the whole project. Rather than doing it manually, you can ask Joule to automate it to you. And this is part of the beta release for the test automation tool that is available within the ALM.
So we talked about GoTestPro. It also.
So this is another tool
Yeah,
which
so,
our partner is supporting.
Beside any with SAP, it supports 100% for SAP S/4HANA. You can run your test cases without any test automation, like scripting or anything. So it records with the extension, it comes in, you can create your complex test cases, integrate your pipelines if you have any, like a Jenkins or Azure DevOps. And it also accomplished with the ALM tools as well. With SAP ALM and other tools from where you can extract your information, user stories, product information. So this is GoTestPro I demonstrated earlier, the execution part. So any specific need or challenges that you guys have in testing mode, where we, as from SAP ALM or from GoTestPro, we can give you an advice, we can help you out come out from those challenges and get things done betterly, and we can assist you. Yeah, please.
When we are doing a testing or migration with the help of GoTestPro,
Yes.
will it check the duplication records and clean the data?
We can create a script within that. Okay, so if you have a data duplication, so we can write a JavaScript, or with the help of APIs, we can check your data. We can check in the database if we are creating any duplication of the record, and we can highlight those records that are duplicated. And if we have a write access on the database, so we can exclude or delete those records specifically for the end users, or as a tester, if I'm writing, I can delete that if I have a write access on the database.
Whether it will delete it on its own or it will ask any approval from the.
It depends upon the process that is there. So if it is a process that we have to go through, that there is certain approval, so we will create, with the help of the recorder, I will create the end-to-end user journey or the test space, in which I am going from user 1 to user 2 for the approval. Once approval has been done and we flag it is done, then the deletion part is happening, and then we will be validating that if that record has been deleted from the front end.
And the deleted records will be available if you want to.
Yes. And also the good part is you can extract the test scripts as well. So if you want to extract your test scripts and run it on your own framework, so you can extract those and run it with the same data set, with the same, or the recorder will provide you all the test scripts as well.
And when we are using multiple applications.
Yes.
Okay. There are some process happening in both applications.
Agree.
Will it identify that only one is enough, because these are repeated tasks?
Yeah.
So which will be the primary one, and from where you have to bring the data, master data, which is the master?
Yes. For example, in SAP you have a front end, an application from your orders are coming up, and our back end is my CRM, where I'm managing, or within SAP I'm managing the whole shipment part, the billing process, and the procurement and everything. So my journey maybe starts from the front end, where a user is coming up and placing an order, and then he is doing his transaction. So that is one part. After a transaction, an order is being placed. Now the order is in my SAP, and now I have to process the order. So this whole end-to-end journey consists of two applications which are independently working. So we will be catering both, and tool itself will cater that, okay, the first part is being done on the front end, which is a B2C application or B2B application, and then there is the back end that needs to be done on the CRM. So it will done the whole, and the switching between the applications can be also smoothly catered with the tool. So it is just navigation of a browser. So in one browser you have your front, the store front, and the other browser is your backend SAP. So you will, the moment you change your browser, it will capture, okay, you are switching between the browsers. Any other questions?
This is mainly supporting SAP only?
No.
Or the third party like Pastex and
So the GoTestPro supports all the applications that are deployed on web. Okay, either it's S4HANA is one of the examples which we have really tested through GoTestPro for multiple clients. Oracle is there, Oracle ERP, and ServiceNow is one of them. We have a great partnership with ServiceNow, and any other application that has been accessed through web, okay, that we can do. Also the hybrid mobile applications, so that can be tested. And if you are just focusing on your backend testing, where you are focusing on your web services, API calls, so you can build your separate module on the API testing through the tool itself as well.
If we talk about the example, what I told, right, automotive industry, you have the S4HANA system. Then if you talk about delivery, right, you are talking about third-party logistics system. That way, first you have a warehouse management, then you have the TM, right? So that sometimes it's a third-party logistics, third-party warehouse systems where we do. So that way we can do testing with all those integrity connections, right? Then if you come back to the delivery part of it, you may have a third-party banks where you are taking a loan. We have to verify whether the loans are approved. Then you go with the vehicle registration. There's an insurance. That way, when it comes to the delivery of a vehicle, you think about the complexity, right? You have the product, you have the variants, and then that particular vehicle going through the delivery services in terms of the logistics, the warehouse, plus the financial approval, going to the bank, going to the insurance, going to the your registration process and coming back. So all those things can be tested end to end. We have done that in one of the project what we talked about. That's the reason I'm always repeating automotive industry, because that's complexity I just wanted to bring up.
and this your role start as a testing phase, or you, I mean, how you, I mean, if you have used this software to test something, suppose as for HANA something, at what stage you will just come into
It all depends, right? See, example, there are engagements where we work upon implementation. We put the team at the right stage. We put it at the left. That's I talked about the left side, right? Where I said we will start at the beginning itself, because the design of the test framework, what you do a test strategy, what you do the framework, how exactly you're going to build your data, will all play a critical role. So, and then at the same time, aligning with the business, what exactly is the expectation when I'm going to the UAT, when I'm going to the system delivery, what is that I do? In sometimes what happens, we are in the mid of the engagement where someone is doing implementation, we are being told to do the testing, then we come in that play where we do that testing for them. And in that case, it's a managed service engagement where we part of their journey to build the test cases for regression suite and then make sure that we test it. But at the time, it's more of either model based or risk based depending upon what client says. So we are flexible in terms of how do we want to model and then how exactly we can bring into the play.
So this is one of the exclusive event offers. Like if you guys subscribed and go and subscribe on the GoTestPro, so the whole end-to-end training modules, the documentation, and your key challenges that you are facing, we will assist you as a complimentary for this event, and where you can actually register yourself, have the tool for 1 month, experience the tool, see how it can benefit your end-to-end test automation journey, and then we can connect later with the challenges or the key areas which you are focusing on and how this tool can accomplish those, and you will get a lot of benefit out of it in terms of testing.
Are you people offering any certification for this, or like in fact, SAP there are multiple certifications?
Yeah, for SAP
module-wise?
there are.
No, for this one, this
So
tool-
but we provide a training module, end-to-end training, but this is not a, there is no specific certification, okay? But yeah, when an individual or an organization onboard the tool, there is an end-to-end journey which we start from in terms of explaining how the product works. providing the SMEs to the client or the individuals, that SMEs will work along with you. Maybe initially you will not understand how the JavaScript will be used in the tool. So we will be there to assist you, or the subject matter experts will be there to assist you, to train you on the tool. And once that has been done, maybe it won't take much of the time. 2 weeks to 4 weeks is the time period. Then you will be more hands-on on the tool yourself to run how it works.
And you are offering trainings only to the clients, or just anybody can come to?
Anybody. As of now, this trial from the website, if you go out of this event, so you get a limited trial for 7 days. But as of now, it's for 30 days or more than that. If you guys are exploring, or if any organization is exploring, we can extend that as well. And apart, what you get out of the box as of now, the subject matter experts will be available to assist you, that okay, how the tool works, how the documentation, where you can find the videos and the tutorials that can help you to automate SAP journey from the automation perspective.
And the training is paid, or it's
No.
free, or
Training, the
high level training? I
Yeah,
think.
that's free, because it comes up with the subject matter expert. They will be engaged for 2-hour session or 3-hour sessions, and they will train you, provide you the enough knowledge that you can work on.
There's a lot of effort put in by the management to bring this product, because we are working with multiple S/4HANA projects, and where we have seen that there is a need to bring in automation. That's where the journey started. It's not about training or anything. We support the customer in terms of building that automation, building that quality. End of the day, what I said, the brand is very key, and then we wanted to come out of this happy path scenario.
And the
Yes,
last
we should.
question is, what is the percentage? I mean, suppose in finance, how you will if I want to see how much finance, suppose, or any module scenarios, this software is covering actually 90%, 95%.
It's
or
again, it
100%.
depends on the training, how it is done. Right? Example, if you look at, not everyone is today, if I talk about, honestly, when the S/4HANA journey, like maybe 20 to 30% of the companies are in the automation journey. There are still 60 to 70% are still in the manual process. Okay, and again, within that particular boundary itself, if I say automation, not everyone is fully automated. They know, okay, I want to test this 10 scenarios, these are very critical for me. Whenever there is a change, whenever there is an upgrade, a patch upgrade, or can be like a version upgrade, then I want to test these scenarios. That's it. They want to live within that 50 test cases or 50 scenarios. Some of them are in the next level. They are okay. They have that moderate models. Example, core processes. Example, OTC. Like they wanted to verify that process. Rest of them are in the manual process. That way, there are organizations in a different stages of the automation. But definitely, I would say probably maybe 2 or 3 organizations are within our experience where they are in the fully automated process.
And also it depends about the version or the application you are testing. For example, if you are testing a standard application, it's different than if you are testing an application that have a lot of customization or a lot of customer specific. For the standard, it is proved that 60% reduction of or decrease in the implementation time, the testing time, the adoption time, because everything is a standard. We are walking through the standard. But if we start doing the customization, we start doing the customer specific test, here where it will be a lot different than the standard product.
Because when it comes to SAP also, right, and if it is standard, SAP does the testing. There are a lot of test cases, there are a lot of testing done by the SAP itself when they roll out the version. What makes a difference is what Abdul told, right, where you talk about, you bring the customization. You have a different integrations to work with, you have different interfaces to deal with. Then only you start seeing this, making it like a more sophisticated integration testing to happen.
And is there any licensing part for this product, or any once you renewal?
It's a subscription based licensing model. But compared to other products in the market of similar experience, you see a better price compared to what we say. At least I would say it can be 1:10.
And for this tool, is there any configuration part? You deploy your team somewhere, you will have to that make the system ready, some configuration part, or it's readily available actually for to use actually. Or
So if you take the SaaS part and you are not deploying it on-prem, then there is no configuration. The only extension is that you need to set up in your browser, and that will take 4 to 5 minutes.
But he said it's a Python-based code,
Yeah.
can run at any environment, any infrastructure.
But once it comes to on-prem, yes, there is a whole deployment process, Dockerization environment that you need to set up, your servers and everything, databases. So in that, there is configurations.
And that's an option as well, that we
Yes.
do on-premise
Yes,
setup.
we have done it for multiple customers.
How does it connect through the web with the servers?
It is on-premise now, right? So it is intranet. So when it is on-premise,
Yeah, I'm
It is-
talking about the web-based.
Web-based, okay. So for example, you have GoTestPro that you have bought, and you have extension that is in part of your browser as of now. Okay, so now when you hit the record button and you are running, a browser will launch itself, which is launched actually by GoTestPro or the tool. Okay, and there is a similar recorder as well on the screen. So now on the browser, you run anything that will be captured directly from the extension that is there. And if you launch another browser, the focus will change from browser A to browser B, and then we will capture all the interactions, traffic, everything coming up on the browsers, and then you can record your scenarios. Okay.
All right,
I would like you guys to just take 2 minutes. We would be more than happy to hear about the feedback. It will help us a lot to improve, bring up with the new discussion points and the agendas that you guys looking for, and it will help us to improve.
yes. And of course, don't miss the subscription as well. Take a screenshot of that.
Yeah,
Take a picture of that. Once you scan this, we'll move back to the previous slide, capture the picture, and subscribe. You know, it's like YouTube influencers. Please click on subscribe.
Like.
Like, subscribe, and bell. I think there's bell icon as well. And once you are done that, guys, I think we can move towards the conclusion if we don't have any questions.
Yes.
Okay, the next part that we have got for you is, of course, socializing. We'll network over a sumptuous lunch. This is what we have got for you. Okay, we would all like you all to move to ground floor buffet area.
Whether it will be user specific or like limited users,
Sorry,
you will have limited users for this.
for the subscription? No, for this event, all the participants that are coming, they can register. For example, if you have your colleagues.
So I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
but the actual licensing
Oh,
model,
so
what is the matrix?
Yeah, so it varies from the organization size and the subscriptions that is there. Starter package, we do not have kept any cap on the number of users your organizations have. We have cap on different parameters like the environments that you can scale up. On the cloud, for example, initially you can just have 5 parallel executions that you can do. Okay, maybe in the next you have 10 executions that can scale up. Okay, and similarly you can create n number of test cases within the tool. There is no limit on the test cases, the execution cycles. Okay, and the number of users. But there are some functionalities that are not available in the starter pack. They are available in the professional and the enterprise application. But
The core modules will be.
yeah, core modules are available in the starter pack where you can record your test cases, you can create automation, you can integrate with the third-party tools like SAP ALM, with Jira integration, with Azure DevOps. You can do all those.
You know, it was lovely having you all as guests, and you have been an amazing audience. Thank you so much.
We will need to switch